The smell hits first. Rowan doesn't move. His hand freezes halfway to the light switch. Body locked in the doorway of the bedroom, he's cleaned 3 times since moving in 4 days ago. The cottage is supposed to be empty. He made sure of that. Checked every corner, every closet, every rotted board in the foundation before he signed anything. But the air is wrong. Metallic, sharp, recent, fear. His chest tightens before his brain catches up. Omega instincts don't lie. Someone bled here. Someone afraid. The scent curls through the room like smoke, clinging to the walls, the sheets, the dust particles hanging in the thin light from the hallway. Rowan's pulse hammers against his ribs. He should leave. Walk out the door, get in his car, drive until the tank runs empty. That's what smart people do when they find blood in places it shouldn't be. That's what people who want to stay alive do. But he doesn't. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. His fingers find the light switch. The overhead bulb flickers once, twice, then holds. The bedroom looks exactly how he left it this morning. Bed made, window cracked for air, floorboards swept clean. Nothing disturbed, except the smell is stronger now. Rowan takes 1 step inside, then another. His bare feet make no sound against the wood. The scent pulls him forward like a hand around his wrist, tugging him toward the bed. He crouches slowly, knees cracking in the silence, and lowers his head to look underneath. First, he sees nothing. Then the shadows move. A shape, small, wedged into the far corner where the wall meets the floor. Rowan's breath catches. Not an animal. The outline is wrong. Too angular. Too still. Too human. Jesus, he whispers. The shape flinches. Rowan's stomach drops. He leans closer, squinting into the darkness, and his eyes adjust enough to make out details. A child. Curled tight, knees pulled to chest, 1 arm wrapped around their middle. The bandage around their side is soaked through, fabric stiff and dark. Their breathing is shallow, uneven, barely there. Pup. Alpha scent rolls off them in waves despite the injury, raw and uncontrolled. The kind of scent that shouldn't belong to someone this young, this small. Rowan's hands shake as he reaches forward. Hey, I'm not. The pup jerks back, slamming their shoulders against the wall. Their eyes snap open, wide and glassy, pupils blown with pain or terror or both. They don't cry, don't scream, just stare at him like prey that knows it's been found. I'm not going to hurt you, Rowan says quietly. His voice cracks. I'm going to help. Okay, just let me see. The pup doesn't move, doesn't blink. Their chest rises and falls too fast, breath whistling through their teeth. Blood seeps through the bandage in a fresh bloom of red. Rowan forces himself to stay calm. Omegas are good at that, staying calm when everything inside them is screaming. He extends his hand slowly, palm up, fingers loose. I need to check your side, that's all. I'm not calling anyone. I'm not telling anyone. Just me and you, okay? The pup's gaze drops to his hand. For a long moment, they don't react. Then, so slowly it's almost invisible, they shift forward. Just an inch, maybe less. It's enough. Rowan reaches in and wraps his fingers around the pup's ankle to guide them out. The second his skin makes contact, he feels it. Raised skin, scar tissue, deliberate, a mark. His stomach twists. He doesn't need to look to know what it is. But he does anyway. Pulls the pup's leg into the light and stares at the 2 crossing blades carved into the skin just above the ankle bone. Faded ink. Professional work. The kind of mark that doesn't wash off or fade with time. The kind of mark that means ownership. Rowan's hand goes numb. He knows that symbol. Everyone on the West Coast knows that symbol. The Hollis Twins. Syndicate enforcers who don't just run territory, they run systems. Supply chains. Routes. People. They don't collapse their enemies. They erase them. Quietly. Efficiently. Without a headline. Their pup should not be alone. Their pup should not be bleeding under a stranger's bed in the middle of nowhere. Rowan's throat closes. He looks at the child's face, really looks and sees it now. The exhaustion, the training, the way they hold themselves like someone who's learned that silence is survival. Their lips are cracked, skin pale, eyes ringed with shadows too deep for someone their age. What happened to you? Rowan breathes. The pup's mouth opens, closes, opens again. When they finally speak, their voice is so hoarse it barely registers as sound. Did I mess up again? The question lands like a blade between Rowan's ribs. He doesn't answer, can't. Because the only thing worse than finding a dying child under your bed is realizing they think it's their fault. Rowan pulls the pup out carefully, cradling their weight against his chest. They don't fight, don't resist, just curl into him like it's the first warm thing they've touched in days. Their heartbeat flutters against his palm, too fast, too weak. He carries them to the bed and lays them down as gently as he can. The bandage peels away with a wet sound that makes his stomach lurch. The wound underneath is deep, jagged, stitched with thread that's already pulling loose. Infection hasn't set in yet, but it will, soon. Rowan works quickly. His hands know what to do even when his brain doesn't. Clean the wound, restitch what he can, wrap it tight. He's done this before. Not for children, not for alpha pups marked by crime families. But the mechanics are the same. The pup watches him the entire time. Doesn't cry, doesn't ask questions. Just stares with those two old eyes and breathes in short, careful pulls. When Rowan finishes, he sits back and wipes the blood off his hands with a towel. His mind is already racing, calculating, measuring distances, weighing options. He should call someone. The police, child services, someone with authority and resources and legal standing. But he won't, because he knows what happens to people who get involved with the Hollis twins. He knows what happens to omegas who think they can outmaneuver alphas with that kind of power. They disappear. Rowan looks at the pup, at the mark on their ankle, at the blood soaking through the fresh bandage already. He thinks about the cottage, the isolation, the miles of forest between him and the nearest town. The way the landlord called it quiet, but meant forgotten. He thinks about the way the pup asked if they messed up, and he makes a decision he knows he'll regret. "You're staying here," Rowan says quietly, "just until you're strong enough to move. Then we figure out what's next." The pup's eyes flutter closed. Rowan stands and moves to the window, staring out at the trees pressing against the glass. The forest is dark, silent, the kind of silence that makes you forget other people exist. But someone knows this pup is here. Someone always knows. What would you do if you found a child who wasn't supposed to exist? The pup doesn't sleep. Rowan watches from the chair he dragged into the corner of the room, arms crossed, eyes burning from exhaustion he refuses to give in to. It's been 6 hours since he pulled the child out from under the bed. 6 hours of stillness so complete it feels like the house is holding its breath. The pup lies on their back, staring at the ceiling. Their chest rises and falls in rhythm, shallow but steady. Every few minutes, their fingers twitch toward the bandage on their side, then stop. Like they're checking to make sure it's still there, still real. Rowan hasn't asked their name yet, doesn't know if they'd answer. The silence between them isn't comfortable. It's the kind of quiet that comes from people who've learned that words cost more than they're worth. Rowan knows that language. He's fluent in it. He stands and crosses to the bed, footsteps deliberate enough to announce his presence. The pup's eyes flick toward him but don't follow. Rowan crouches beside the mattress, close enough to check the bandage without crowding them. "I need to see it again," he says. Not a question, just information. The pup nods once. Rowan peels back the blanket and lifts the edge of the bandage. The wound looks better. Not good, but better. The edges are clean, stitches holding, no fresh blood seeping through. He presses his fingers against the skin around it, checking for heat. The pup tenses but doesn't pull away. "Doesn't feel infected," Rowan murmurs. "That's good. Means your body's fighting." The pup's gaze shifts to his face. "How do you know?" Their voice is clearer now, still rough but stronger. Rowan meets their eyes and sees the question underneath the question. How do you know how to do this? I've patched people up before, Rowan says simply. He doesn't elaborate. Doesn't need to. The pup accepts this with a small nod. Then, after a pause, "What's your name?" Rowan hesitates. Names are dangerous. Names are traceable. But the pup is looking at him with something close to trust. And that's more fragile than any wound he's ever stitched. "Rowan," he says finally. "Yours." "Elio." The name settles between them. Rowan commits it to memory. Elio. Small. Quiet. Bleeding. Marked. "Elio," Rowan repeats. "You've been here a while, haven't you?" Elio's expression doesn't change. 2 days. Maybe 3. I don't know. Under the bed the whole time? Yeah. Rowan's chest tightens. "You didn't try to leave?" Elio shakes their head. "Safer to stay still. That's what they said. If something happens, stay still. Don't move until someone comes." "Who's they?" Elio's mouth presses into a thin line. They don't answer. Rowan doesn't push. He lowers the bandage back into place and pulls the blanket up to Elio's chest. "You need to eat. When's the last time you had food?" Elio blinks. "I don't remember." "Water." Another pause. "I drank from the bathroom sink. At night." Rowan closes his eyes briefly. When he opens them again, his voice is steadier than he feels. "I'm going to get you something. Soup. Bread. Nothing heavy. Your stomach won't handle much right now." He stands and heads for the door. Elio's voice stops him. "Rowan." He turns. Elio is sitting up slightly, one hand braced against the mattress. Their face is pale, but their eyes are sharp. "Why are you helping me?" Rowan doesn't have a good answer. Or maybe he has too many. Because no one helped him when he needed it. Because the pup is small and hurt and alone. Because walking away would make him complicit in whatever happens next. "Because I can," he says finally. Elio studies him for a long moment. Then they lie back down, gaze returning to the ceiling. Rowan leaves the room. The kitchen is small, outdated, functional. He rummages through the cabinets and finds a can of chicken broth, half a loaf of bread that's only slightly stale, and a jar of honey. It's not much, but it'll do. He heats the broth on the stove, watching the liquid shimmer as it warms. His hands move on autopilot while his mind races. Elio's mark. The Hollis twins. The way the pup talks about they like it's a system, not a family. Rowan knows what that means. He's read the stories, heard the whispers. The Hollis twins don't just control territory. They control people, routes, logistics. Their operation is clean, efficient, invisible. No headlines, no arrests, just silent reshuffling when someone becomes a problem. And Elio is a problem. Rowan pours the broth into a bowl and carries it back to the bedroom. Elio is still staring at the ceiling. They don't move when Rowan sits on the edge of the bed. "Sit up," Rowan says gently. Slowly, Elio obeys, wincing as they shift their weight. Rowan hands them the bowl and watches as they take the first sip. Their hands shake, broth sloshing against the rim, but they don't spill any. "Small sips," Rowan reminds them. "Your stomach's empty. Too much too fast and you'll throw it up." Elio nods and drinks carefully. Color starts to return to their face after the third sip. By the time the bowl is half empty, they're breathing easier. Rowan takes the bowl when Elio's hands start to tremble too much to hold it steady. "That's enough for now. We'll try more in a couple hours." Elio leans back against the pillows, eyes already drooping. "Thank you." Rowan sets the bowl aside. "Get some rest." "Will you stay?" The question is so quiet Rowan almost doesn't hear it. He looks at Elio, at the exhaustion carved into their face, and nods. "Yeah, I'll stay." Elio's eyes close. Rowan sits in the chair and watches the pup sleep. The room is dark except for the thin light creeping under the door. Outside, the forest is silent. No wind, no birds, just emptiness pressing against the windows. Rowan's mind won't stop moving. He catalogs everything he knows. The mark, the injury, the way Elio talks about being hidden. The fact that no one has come looking yet. That last part bothers him the most. If Elio belongs to the Hollis twins, someone should have torn this place apart by now. Unless they don't know where Elio is. Or they do know and they're waiting. Rowan's stomach turns. He stands and moves to the window, pulling the curtain back just enough to see outside. The trees are thick, shadows layered on shadows. Nothing moves, but someone could be out there, watching, waiting for Rowan to make a mistake. He lets the curtain fall and turns back to the bed. Elio is curled on their side now, breathing deep and even, asleep. Finally, Rowan exhales slowly. He's in this now, whether he wants to be or not. The moment he pulled Elio out from under that bed, he became part of whatever this is. And the Hollis twins don't forget. Rowan crosses to the dresser and opens the bottom drawer. Beneath a stack of old shirts, he finds what he's looking for. A burner phone, $300 in cash. A fake ID he paid too much for 2 years ago. His escape plan. He stares at it for a long moment. Then he closes the drawer and walks back to the chair. Not yet. Not while Elio is still weak. Still bleeding. Still asking questions like, did I mess up again? Rowan sits down and watches the pup sleep. Outside, something rustles in the trees. Rowan's head snaps toward the window. He waits, muscles coiled, ears straining. Nothing. Just wind. Or an animal. Or his paranoia playing tricks. He forces himself to breathe. To stay calm. To remember that panic is what gets people killed. But when he looks back at Elio, he sees it. The pup's eyes are open, staring at the window, wide, terrified. They're here, Elio whispers. Would you run? Or would you fight for someone you just met? Rowan doesn't move. Elio is staring at the window like it's a mouth about to swallow them whole. Their breathing has gone shallow again, chest barely rising, fingers digging into the blanket hard enough to turn their knuckles white. Rowan listens. The house is silent. No footsteps. No voices. No engines cutting through the forest quiet. Just the faint creak of old wood settling and the hum of the refrigerator 2 rooms away. Elio, Rowan says quietly, what did you hear? The pup doesn't answer. Their gaze stays locked on the window, unblinking. Rowan stands and crosses the room in 3 strides. He pulls the curtain back fully this time, scanning the tree line. Darkness. Branches swaying slightly in a breeze he can't feel from inside. No movement. No shapes that don't belong. He waits. 30 seconds. A minute. 2. Nothing. Rowan lets the curtain fall and turns back to Elio. The pup hasn't moved. Their entire body is rigid, coiled like a spring wound too tight. Elio, Rowan says again, firmer this time. There's no one out there. Elio's eyes flick to him. You don't know that. I just checked. They don't let you see them. The certainty in Elio's voice makes Rowan's skin prickle. He crouches beside the bed, lowering himself to the pup's eye level. Who are they? The people who did this to you? Elio's jaw tightens. They don't answer. Rowan exhales slowly. He's not going to get anywhere by pushing. Omegas know that. You wait. You listen. You let people come to you when they're ready. But time feels like a luxury he doesn't have. Elio, Rowan says carefully. That mark on your ankle. The blades. I know what it means. Elio's breath hitches. I'm not going to pretend I don't, Rowan continues. And I'm not going to lie to you. If the people who put that mark on you want you back, I can't stop them. Not alone. Not here. Elio's fingers loosen slightly on the blanket. Then why did you help me? Because you needed it. That's not enough. Rowan blinks. The pup is right. It's not enough. Not in a world where helping the wrong person gets you erased. Not when the Hollis twins are involved. But Rowan has never been good at walking away. You're right, he admits. It's not, but it's what I've got. Elio stares at him. Then, slowly, their shoulders drop. The tension bleeds out of them in increments like air leaking from a tire. They sink back against the pillows, gaze drifting to the ceiling. They didn't mean to lose me, Elio says quietly. I was supposed to stay in the safe house. But someone came. Someone who wasn't supposed to know where I was. And the person watching me, they stop, swallow. They told me to run. So I did. Rowan's chest tightens. Who came? Elio shakes their head. I don't know. I didn't see them. I just heard voices. Angry voices. And then the person watching me grabbed me and shoved me out the back door. Told me to keep running until I couldn't anymore. And you ended up here. I didn't know where else to go. Rowan sits back on his heels. The pieces are starting to fit together, but the picture they're forming makes his stomach churn. A safe house, a breach, pup told to run. The Hollis twins don't lose their people by accident, which means someone inside their organization wanted Elio gone, or wanted to use Elio to send a message. The person who told you to run, Rowan says. Do you think they're still alive? Elio's eyes go distant. No. One word. Flat. Final. Rowan doesn't ask how they know. He doesn't need to. The certainty in Elio's voice says enough. Okay, Rowan says. He stands and paces to the window again, hands braced on the sill. His mind is racing. If Elio is a liability to someone inside the Hollis operation, then keeping them hidden only delays the inevitable. Eventually, someone will come looking, and when they do, Rowan won't be able to talk his way out of it. But if he hands Elio over now, the pup is dead. He's sure of that. Rowan turns back to Elio. How long were you in the safe house before you ran? 3 weeks, maybe a month. And before that? Elio hesitates. Different places. They moved me a lot. Why? I don't know. They didn't tell me things. Just where to go and when to be quiet. Rowan's hands curl into fists. He knows this pattern. He's seen it before. People, especially children, moved like cargo. Hidden, managed, controlled. It's not protection. It's containment. Elio, Rowan says carefully, did you ever hear them talk about why they were moving you? Elio nods slowly. Once. 2 of them were arguing outside the room I was in. They didn't know I could hear. One of them said I was a problem. That I'd seen too much. The other one said it didn't matter because no one would believe me anyway. Rowan's blood goes cold. What did you see? Elio's gaze locks onto his. For a moment, Rowan thinks they won't answer. Then Elio's voice drops to barely a whisper. People being moved. Not like me. Adults. In the middle of the night. They were tied up. Scared. And one of the twins. Elio stops. Their throat works like they're trying to swallow something sharp. One of the twins was there. Watching. He didn't do anything. Just watched. Rowan feels the floor tilt under him. He knows which twin Elio is talking about. There are 2 Hollis brothers. Bram and Cade. Bram is the face of the operation. Smooth. Controlled. The one who handles negotiations and public appearances. Cade is the enforcement. The one who makes problems disappear. If Elio saw Cade moving people, it wasn't a logistical operation. It was a purge. Rowan crosses back to the bed and sits on the edge. His voice is steady, but his hands are shaking. Elio, listen to me. If what you saw gets out, it doesn't just put you in danger. It puts everyone around you in danger. Do you understand? Elio nods. And if the wrong person finds out you're here, they'll kill you too, Elio finishes. Rowan doesn't argue. Elio sits up, wincing as the movement pulls at their stitches. Then you should let me go. I can disappear. I know how. You're 9 years old. 10. That doesn't change anything. Elio's eyes harden. I've been running longer than you've been hiding. The words land like a slap. Rowan stares at the pup, at the exhaustion and anger and resignation carved into their face, and realizes Elio is right. This child has survived things Rowan can't imagine. And they're still here, still fighting. Rowan exhales slowly. I'm not letting you go. Why not? Because you shouldn't have to run alone. Elio's expression cracks, just for a second. Then they rebuild it, brick by brick, until their face is smooth again. You're going to get yourself killed. Maybe, Rowan admits, but not tonight. He stands and moves to the dresser, opens the bottom drawer. pulls out the burner phone, the cash, the fake ID. He spreads them on the bed in front of Elio. "These are our exit options," Rowan says. "If things go wrong, we use them. But until then, we stay smart. We stay quiet. And we figure out who's looking for you." Elio stares at the items. How? Rowan doesn't have an answer yet, but he's starting to form a plan. A dangerous one. One that involves reaching out to contacts he swore he'd never speak to again. "I'll figure it out," he says. Elio picks up the fake ID and studies it. "This picture doesn't look like you. It's not supposed to. Then why do you have it?" Rowan takes the ID back and tucks it into his pocket. "Same reason you know how to run. Because staying still gets you killed." Elio nods slowly. They understand. Rowan moves back to the chair and sits down. His body is exhausted, but his mind won't stop. He watches Elio settle back under the blankets. Eyes already drooping again. The pup is asleep within minutes. Rowan stays awake. Outside, the wind picks up. Branches scrape against the side of the house. A sound like fingernails on glass. Rowan doesn't move, but when he glances at the window, he sees it. A shadow, just outside the tree line. Tall, motionless, watching. What would you do if you realized you were being hunted? The shadow is gone by morning. Rowan doesn't sleep. He sits in the chair with his back to the wall and his eyes on the window until the sky shifts from black to gray to pale blue. By the time sunlight filters through the trees, his body aches from stillness and his mind is frayed at the edges. But the shadow doesn't return. Elio wakes slowly, blinking against the light. They sit up with a wince, one hand pressed to their side. Their gaze finds Rowan immediately. "Did they come?" Elio asks. Rowan shakes his head. "No, it's not a lie. Whoever was watching didn't come inside, didn't knock, didn't announce themselves. They just stood there, waiting, or confirming." Rowan stands and stretches, joints cracking. "How do you feel?" "Better," Elio says. They pull the blanket back and inspect the bandage. No fresh blood. The stitches are holding. Still hurts, but not as bad. "Good. That means you're healing." Elio nods. Then, quieter. "What do we do now?" Rowan moves to the window and looks out. The forest is still. No movement. No shapes that don't belong. But he can feel it. The weight of being watched. The certainty that someone knows exactly where they are. "We eat," Rowan says. "Then we plan." He makes oatmeal. Simple. Easy on the stomach. Elio eats slowly, methodically, like someone who's learned not to waste food. Rowan eats standing up, his gaze flicking to the window every few seconds. When they finish, Rowan clears the bowls and sits across from Elio at the small kitchen table. The cottage is cramped, but it's defensible. One door in the front, one window in each room. The forest surrounding them is thick enough to slow anyone approaching. But it's also isolated enough that no one will hear them scream. "Okay," Rowan says. "We need to figure out what's next." Elio folds their hands on the table. "You said you'd figure out who's looking for me." "I did, and I will. But I need your help." Elio nods. Rowan leans forward. "The person who told you to run. Do you remember their name?" Elio hesitates. "Cade." Rowan freezes. "Cade." "Yeah, that's what the others called him." Rowan's stomach drops. "Cade. Not Cade, but close enough that the coincidence makes his skin crawl." "Did he ever say who he worked for? Or who was looking for you?" Elio shakes their head. "He didn't talk much. Just told me where to go and when to stay quiet." Rowan sits back. If Cade was the one protecting Elio, and Cade is dead, then whoever breached the safe house is still out there. And they're not going to stop looking. "Elio," Rowan says carefully, "you said you overheard people talking about moving adults. Do you remember anything else? Names? Locations?" Elio's brow furrows. "There was a place they kept mentioning. Something about a port. I don't remember the name, but they talked about shipments. And schedules." Rowan's mind races. Port. Shipments. The Hollis twins run logistics. Import-export operations. Legal on the surface, but everyone knows what's underneath. If Elio overheard details about their supply chain, it's not just dangerous. It's a death sentence. Rowan exhales slowly. Okay, that's enough. You don't need to remember anything else right now. Elio nods, but their expression is tight. Worried. Rowan reaches across the table and rests his hand over Elio's. We're going to figure this out. I promise. Elio stares at their joined hands. Then, so quietly Rowan almost doesn't hear, "Why do you care?" Rowan doesn't have a good answer. Or maybe he does and he's afraid to say it out loud. Because caring about people gets you hurt, gets you used, gets you erased. But he cares anyway. Because no one cared when I needed them to, Rowan says finally. And I'm not going to be that person. Elio's eyes glisten. They blink rapidly and look away, but not before Rowan sees the crack in their armor. They sit in silence for a moment. Then Elio pulls their hand back and stands. I want to help. You are helping. No, I mean really help. Not just sit here and wait for someone to find us. Rowan studies the pup. 10 years old, injured, hunted, and still fighting. What do you want to do? Rowan asks. Elio meets his gaze. Teach me how to disappear. Rowan blinks. You already know how. Not like you. You've been doing this longer. I can tell. Rowan doesn't argue. He has been doing this longer. Running, hiding, rebuilding under new names in new places. It's exhausting, soul-crushing, but it works. Most of the time. Okay, Rowan says. I'll teach you, but first you need to get stronger. No point learning to run if you can't walk without bleeding. Elio nods. Deal. The rest of the day passes quietly. Rowan shows Elio how to move through the house without making noise. How to memorize exits. How to pack a bag light enough to carry but heavy enough to survive with. Elio absorbs everything like a sponge, asking questions, testing techniques, never complaining about the pain in their side. By evening, Rowan feels something he hasn't felt in years. Hope is fragile, dangerous, but it's there. They eat dinner together, canned soup and stale crackers. Elio eats more this time, color returning to their face with every bite. Rowan watches them and allows himself to believe, just for a moment, that maybe this will work. Maybe they'll get out of this alive. Then the knock comes. 3 sharp raps on the front door. Rowan's blood turns to ice. Elio's eyes go wide. They don't move, don't breathe. Rowan stands slowly and crosses to the window. He pulls the curtain back just enough to see outside. A man stands on the porch, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark coat and polished shoes that have no business being in the middle of the forest. His hands are tucked into his pockets, posture relaxed, like he's waiting for a bus instead of standing at the door of a stranger's house. Rowan's heart hammers against his ribs. The man doesn't knock again. He just stands there, patient. Rowan looks back at Elio. The pup is frozen, eyes locked on the door. Do you know him? Rowan whispers. Elio nods slowly. That's one of them. Which one? Elio's voice is barely audible. Bram, would you open the door, or would you run? Rowan doesn't move. Bram Hollis stands on the porch like he has all the time in the world. No impatience, no aggression, just waiting. The kind of patience that comes from knowing the outcome is inevitable. Rowan's mind races. He could run, grab Elio and bolt out the back door, disappear into the forest before Bram even realizes they're gone. But the forest is Bram's territory. His people could be out there already, watching, waiting, and running makes you pray. Rowan's hand drops from the curtain. He looks at Elio. The pup is pressed against the wall, eyes wide, breathing shallow, terrified but silent. Stay here, Rowan says quietly. Don't move. Don't make a sound. Elio nods. Rowan crosses to the door. His hand hovers over the knob for a moment. Then he opens it. Bram Hollis doesn't step forward, doesn't push his way inside. He just looks at Rowan with the kind of calm that comes from never having to fight for control. Rowan Pike, Bram says. His voice is smooth, polite, May I come in? Rowan's stomach twists. Bram knows his name, which means Bram has been watching for longer than Rowan realized. No, Rowan says. Bram's expression doesn't change. I understand. You're cautious. That's smart. He glances past Rowan into the house. I'm not here to hurt you. Or the boy. Rowan's jaw tightens. Then why are you here? To thank you. Rowan blinks. What? Bram's gaze shifts back to him. You helped my nephew. That matters. Rowan doesn't respond. His mind is screaming at him to close the door, lock it, grab Elio and run. But his body stays still. Because Bram Hollis is the kind of man who doesn't need to threaten. His presence is the threat. I didn't know he was your nephew, Rowan says carefully. I know. That's why I'm here instead of my brother. The words land like a warning. Rowan's hands curl into fists at his sides. What do you want? Bram reaches into his coat. Rowan tenses, but Bram's hand emerges holding a business card. He extends it toward Rowan. I want to offer you a choice, Bram says. Rowan doesn't take the card. What kind of choice? The kind that keeps you alive. Rowan's breath catches. Bram's tone hasn't changed. Still polite, still calm, but the weight behind the words is undeniable. Bram lowers the card when Rowan doesn't take it. You've been careful. I respect that. But you're in over your head, Mr. Pike. My nephew was taken from a safe house by people who wanted to use him against me. Those people are still looking for him. And when they find him, and they will, they won't care who's standing in their way. Rowan swallows. And you're offering protection. I'm offering a solution. What's the difference? Bram's mouth curves into something that might be a smile. Protection requires trust. A solution just requires cooperation. Rowan's mind is racing. Bram is offering him a way out. Clean exit. But nothing about this is clean. What do you want from me? Rowan asks. I want you to let me take Elio home. Rowan's chest tightens. And if I say no? Bram's expression doesn't change. Then my brother will come instead. And he won't knock. The threat is clear. Bram is mercy. Cade is consequence. Rowan's hands shake. He forces them still. How do I know you'll keep him safe? You don't, Bram says simply. But you know what will happen if you keep him here. Rowan stares at him. Bram Hollis is everything Rowan expected. Controlled, measured, dangerous. But there's something else underneath. Something Rowan can't quite name. Regret, maybe. Or exhaustion. I need time, Rowan says. Bram nods. You have until tomorrow night. After that, the decision is out of my hands. He turns and walks back to his car. A black sedan parked just off the main road. He doesn't look back. Doesn't wait for Rowan's response. He just gets in and drives away. Rowan closes the door and locks it. His hands are shaking so hard he can barely turn the deadbolt. Elio is standing in the hallway. What did he say? Rowan leans against the door and slides down until he's sitting on the floor. He wants to take you back. Elio's face goes pale. Are you going to let him? Rowan looks at the pup. 10 years old. Injured. Hunted. And still looking at Rowan like he's the only thing standing between them and the void. I don't know, Rowan admits. Elio crosses the room and sits beside him. They don't say anything. Just sit there, shoulder to shoulder, while the weight of the choice presses down on both of them. Rowan's mind won't stop. He weighs the options. Bram's offer. Cade's threat. The evidence Elio overheard. The port. The shipments. The people being moved in the middle of the night. And then it hits him. Elio isn't just a witness. Elio is leverage. Elio, Rowan says quietly, the things you saw, the people being moved. Do you remember anything specific? Dates? Names? Anything that could be used as proof? Elio frowns. I don't know. Maybe. Why? Rowan's heart is pounding. Because if we have proof, we have power. Elio's eyes widen. You want to use it against them? I want to use it to keep you alive. Elio stares at him. Then slowly they nod. Okay, I'll try to remember. Rowan stands and pulls Elio to their feet. We don't have much time. Bram said tomorrow night. That gives us less than 24 hours. To do what? Rowan doesn't answer, because he doesn't have a plan yet. Just a thread of an idea. Dangerous, reckless, the kind of idea that gets people killed. But it's the only one he's got. We're going to fight back, Rowan says. Elio's expression shifts. Fear gives way to something harder, sharper. Hope. How? Elio asks. Rowan looks at the door. At the forest beyond. At the shadows pressing against the windows. I'll figure it out, he says. But even as the words leave his mouth, he hears it. A sound. Faint. Distant. The crack of a branch snapping under weight. Rowan's blood turns to ice. He crosses to the window and pulls the curtain back. The shadow is back. Tall. Motionless. Watching. And this time it's not alone. What happens when the predator stops pretending to be patient? The fire starts at midnight. Rowan smells smoke before he sees flames. He's already awake, has been for hours, sitting in the chair with Elio curled on the bed beside him. The shadows he saw at dusk multiplied after dark. 3, maybe 4, circling the property line but never crossing it. Waiting. The smoke smell changes everything. Elio. Rowan shakes the pup's shoulder. Wake up. Now. Elio's eyes snap open. What? Get your shoes. Don't ask questions. Rowan moves to the window and looks out. Orange light flickers through the trees behind the house. Not close yet, but moving. Deliberate. The flames aren't spreading naturally. They're being guided. Rowan's hands go numb. This isn't an attack. It's a message. He grabs the bag he packed earlier and slings it over his shoulder. Elio is already at the door, shoes on, face pale but focused. Good. The pup knows how to move when it matters. Back door, Rowan says. Stay low. Stay quiet. They move through the house in silence. Rowan's mind catalogs everything he's losing with each step. Documents in the bedroom drawer. Cash under the bathroom sink. The fake ID he was stupid enough to leave in his jacket pocket. All of it burning. They reach the back door. Rowan cracks it open and peers out. The forest is alive with movement now. Shadows shifting between trees. Too many to count. Too coordinated to be random. Rowan's chest tightens. They're surrounded. Change of plan, he whispers. He closes the door and pulls Elio toward the kitchen. There's a drainage tunnel behind the property. Runs under the road. Comes out half a mile east. How do you know? I memorized the property layout before I signed the lease. Elio doesn't question it. Just follows. They slip out the side window and drop into the overgrown grass. The air is thick with smoke now, heat pressing against Rowan's back. He can hear the fire crackling, wood splitting, glass shattering. His home dissolving into ash. He doesn't look back. They run low through the grass, heading for the drainage tunnel entrance hidden beneath a tangle of blackberry bushes. Rowan pushes the branches aside and finds the metal grate. It's rusted, heavy, but it moves when he pulls. Inside, he hisses. Elio drops into the tunnel first. Rowan follows, pulling the grate closed behind them. Darkness swallows them whole. The tunnel smells like wet concrete and rotting leaves, but it's cover. It's distance. It's survival. They crawl forward in silence. Rowan keeps one hand on Elio's shoulder, guiding them through the black. His knees scrape against gravel. Water soaks through his pants. The tunnel is tighter than he remembered, walls pressing in from both sides. Behind them, the fire roars. Rowan counts his breaths, focuses on the rhythm. Keep moving. Don't think about what's burning. Don't think about what comes next. Just move. They reach the exit after what feels like hours but is probably 15 minutes. Rowan pushes the grate open and pulls Elio out into the night air. They're on the far side of the road now, hidden in a ditch thick with weeds and brambles. Rowan turns and looks back toward the cottage. The entire structure is engulfed. Flames lick toward the sky, orange and gold and furious. Smoke billows in thick black clouds. The heat is visible even from this distance. air shimmering above the wreckage. Rowan's throat closes. Everything he owned is gone. His name, his history, his carefully constructed safety, erased in under 20 minutes. Elio touches his arm. Rowan. He doesn't respond. Can't. He's watching his life burn and realizing that it was never his to begin with. The Hollis twins decide what survives. They always have. Rowan. Elio says again, more urgent this time. Rowan drags his gaze away from the fire and looks at the pup. Elio is staring at the tree line to their left. Their body is rigid, eyes locked on something Rowan can't see. What? Rowan whispers. Someone's there. Rowan follows their gaze. First, he sees nothing. Then the shadow detaches from the trees. Tall, broad, moving toward them with slow, measured steps. Not Bram, the second twin. Rowan's heart stops. Cade Hollis doesn't announce himself. Doesn't speak. He just walks toward them like he's collecting something he misplaced. Rowan grabs Elio's hand and pulls them deeper into the ditch. Don't move. Don't breathe. They press themselves flat against the mud, bodies hidden beneath the overgrowth. Rowan's pulse hammers in his ears. He can hear Cade's footsteps now, heavy, unhurried, getting closer. Rowan closes his eyes and prays to a god he stopped believing in years ago. The footsteps stop. Rowan holds his breath, counts to 10, 20, 30. Then the footsteps move again. Away, back toward the tree line. Rowan waits another full minute before he dares to move. He lifts his head just enough to see through the weeds. Cade is gone, disappeared back into the forest like he was never there. But Rowan knows better. Cade doesn't give up. He just moves to the next strategy. Rowan looks at Elio. The pup's face is streaked with mud, eyes wide and glassy. They're shaking, not from fear, from cold. The adrenaline is wearing off and shock is setting in. We need to move, Rowan says quietly. Where? Good question. Rowan doesn't have an answer. His escape plan depended on having resources. Money, documents, transportation. All of that is ash now. He looks back at the burning cottage one last time. Bram's offer echoes in his mind. I want to offer you a choice. Rowan understands now. The fire wasn't chaos. It was precision. Bram came to talk, to offer mercy, and when Rowan hesitated, Cade came to remind him what refusal costs. The twins aren't working against each other. They're working together. Come on, Rowan says. He pulls Elio to their feet and leads them east, away from the fire, away from the cottage, away from everything he thought he could control. They walk through the forest in silence. No destination, no plan, just distance between them and the flames. Rowan's mind is numb. He's lost everything. Again. But this time he's not alone. This time he's dragging a child down with him. And the worst part? He still doesn't know if he made the right choice. What would you sacrifice to save someone you barely know? Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. Drop your thoughts in the comments and inspire others with your perspective. Rowan meets Bram again 3 days later. Not at the cottage. There's nothing left of it except charred foundation and ash that still smells like his failure. Bram chooses a diner off Route 18, the kind of place where truckers stop for coffee and nobody asks questions. Rowan walks in alone. Elio is hidden 2 miles away in a storage unit Rowan rented with the last of his cash. Safe, warm, alive, for now. Bram sits in a corner booth, back to the wall, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee he hasn't touched. He looks up when Rowan approaches. No surprise, no greeting, just a slight nod toward the empty seat across from him. Rowan sits. You look tired, Bram observes. You burned my house down. My brother burned your house down. I offered you a choice. Rowan's jaw tightens. Same thing. Bram's expression doesn't change. No, it's not. If it were the same, you wouldn't be here right now. Rowan doesn't argue. He's too exhausted to argue. 3 days sleeping in a storage unit with a 10-year-old who wakes up screaming every few hours has stripped away whatever fight he had left. I want guarantees, Rowan says. For what? Elio's safety. Bram leans back. You're not in a position to negotiate, Mr. Pike. Then why are we here? Bram studies him for a long moment. Then he sets his coffee down and folds his hands on the table. Because you did something most people wouldn't. You helped my nephew when you had every reason not to. That means something. Not enough to stop your brother from hunting us. My brother doesn't hunt. He eliminates threats. Rowan's stomach twists. Elio is a child. Elio is a witness. The words hang between them. Cold. Final. Rowan swallows. To what? Bram's gaze doesn't waver. To mistakes that need to stay buried. Rowan's mind races. Elio said they saw people being moved. Adults. Tied up. Scared. And one of the twins was there. Watching. Cade. Rowan leans forward. Your brother is cleaning house. Bram's expression flickers. Just for a second. Then it's smooth again. My brother is protecting our interests. By purging your own people? By removing liabilities. Rowan's hands curl into fists under the table. And Elio is a liability because they saw too much. Bram doesn't confirm or deny. He just watches Rowan with those calm, calculating eyes. What do you want, Mr. Pike? I want Elio to live. Then give them to me. Rowan's chest tightens. How do I know you won't? Kill them. Bram finishes. You don't. But you know what will happen if you keep running. Cade will find you. And when he does, you'll both disappear. No trace. No witnesses. Just gone. Rowan's throat goes dry. He knows Bram is right. He's known since the fire. Since the shadows in the forest. Since Cade stood 10 feet away and chose not to act. They're being toyed with. Worn down. Pushed toward the inevitable. What happens to Elio if I give them to you? Rowan asks. Bram's expression softens slightly. They come home. They're taken care of. They forget what they saw. And if they don't forget? Bram doesn't answer. Rowan's stomach turns. He looks at the table, at his reflection in the polished surface, and sees exactly what he is. An Omega with no power, no resources, no leverage, except one thing. Elio recorded something, Rowan says quietly. Bram goes very still. Rowan looks up and meets his gaze. Audio, conversations, names, locations, everything they overheard while being moved between safe houses. It's a lie. Elio didn't record anything. But Bram doesn't know that. Bram's jaw tightens. Where is it? Safe. Give it to me. No. The air between them shifts. Bram's calm cracks just enough for Rowan to see the steel underneath. Mr. Pike, you don't want to play this game. I'm not playing. I'm negotiating. Bram leans forward. His voice drops. You have nothing to negotiate with. I have proof that your brother is cannibalizing your operation. That's not nothing. Bram's expression goes cold. You're bluffing. Maybe. But are you willing to risk it? They stare at each other across the table. The diner is nearly empty. A waitress refills coffee 2 booths away. A trucker pays his bill at the counter. No one notices the 2 men locked in a silent war. Finally, Bram speaks. What do you want? Rowan exhales slowly. Elio lives. No retaliation. No cleanup. They get to grow up. And the recording? Disappears. Bram's eyes narrow. How do I know you won't use it later? You don't. But you know I don't want to be involved in this any more than I already am. I give you Elio. You make sure they're safe. The recording goes away. We all move on. Bram is silent for a long moment. Then he reaches into his coat and pulls out a phone. He sets it on the table between them. Call me when you're ready. You have 24 hours. He stands and walks out without another word. Rowan sits alone in the booth, staring at the phone. His hands are shaking again. He just lied to one of the most dangerous men on the West Coast. Bet everything on a bluff he can't back up. And now he has one day to make it real. He pulls out his own phone and dials a number he swore he'd never use again. It rings twice before a familiar voice answers. Rowan? That you? Yeah. I need a favor. What kind? Rowan closes his eyes. The kind that gets people killed. There's a long pause. Then, "Where are you?" Rowan gives the address of the storage unit. "I'll be there in 3 hours." The line goes dead. Rowan pockets the phone and stands. His legs feel like water, but he forces them to move. He walks out of the diner and into the parking lot. The night air is cold, sharp, clearing the fog from his brain. He has 24 hours to build a lie into truth. 24 hours to save a child he barely knows. And 24 hours before the Hollis twins stop being patient. He gets in his car and drives back to the storage unit. Elio is awake when he arrives, sitting cross-legged on the sleeping bag, eyes red from crying they'd never admit to. "What did he say?" Elio asks. Rowan kneels in front of them. "I'm going to fix this." "How?" Rowan reaches into his pocket and pulls out the small recorder he bought at a gas station on the way back. He sets it in Elio's hands. "I need you to tell me everything you remember," Rowan says. "Every conversation, every name, every location, all of it." Elio stares at the recorder. "Why?" "Because we're going to make them believe you have power they can't afford to ignore." Elio's fingers close around the device. Will it work? Rowan doesn't know, but he can't say that. Can't let the pup see how terrified he is. How certain he is that this plan will get them both killed. "It has to," Rowan says. Elio presses record and starts talking. "Would you build a weapon out of a child's trauma to save their life?" Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. Share your thoughts in the comments and let others know what you do in Rowan's position. Rowan hands Elio over on a Wednesday. The meeting happens in a parking lot behind a closed grocery store. Neutral ground. Public enough to discourage violence. Empty enough to avoid witnesses. Bram arrives exactly on time, alone, driving the same black sedan from before. Rowan watches him park and step out. The Alpha moves with the same controlled calm, hands visible, posture open. Non-threatening. Rowan doesn't believe it for a second. Elio stands beside him, fingers wrapped around the strap of a small backpack. The pup hasn't said a word since they left the storage unit. Just stared out the car window while Rowan drove, face blank, breathing measured, preparing. Bram approaches slowly. His gaze moves from Rowan to Elio, then back again. "Mr. Pike." "Bram." They stand 10 feet apart. The parking lot stretches around them, cracked asphalt and faded yellow lines. A streetlight flickers overhead, buzzing like a trapped insect. "You made the right choice," Bram says. Rowan doesn't respond. "There's nothing right about this." Bram looks at Elio. His expression shifts. Something softer bleeds through. Concern, maybe, or regret. "Elio, are you hurt?" Elio shakes their head. "Good." Bram extends his hand. "Come here." Elio doesn't move. They look up at Rowan instead, eyes searching his face for something. Permission, reassurance, forgiveness. Rowan crouches down to their level. His throat is tight, words catching before they form. "You're going to be okay. Are you lying?" "No." Elio's eyes glisten. "You don't know that. I know Bram isn't going to hurt you, but his brother isn't here." Rowan interrupts gently. "Bram came alone. That means something." Elio stares at him. Then, so quietly Rowan almost doesn't hear, "What about you?" Rowan's chest cracks open. He pulls Elio into a hug, careful of their injury, and holds them tighter than he should. The pup's small body shakes against him. "I'll be fine," Rowan whispers. "I always am." It's a lie, but it's the kindest one he can offer. Elio pulls back and wipes their eyes quickly. Then they reach into their jacket and pull out the recorder. The small device sits in their palm, black and ordinary and heavy with everything it represents. Rowan takes it. "I'll keep it safe." Elio nods. Then they turn and walk toward Bram. The Alpha doesn't grab them, doesn't rush them. He just waits until Elio reaches him, then rests a hand on their shoulder. Gentle, almost protective. Rowan watches as Bram opens the back door of the sedan and helps Elio inside. The pup settles into the seat and looks out the window at Rowan one last time. Their expression is unreadable. Bram closes the door and turns back to Rowan. The recording. Rowan pulls it from his pocket and holds it up. You get this when I know Elio is safe. That wasn't the deal. The deal changed. Bram's eyes narrow. You're testing my patience, Mr. Pike. I'm protecting a child. They stare at each other. The tension pulls taut between them, ready to snap. Then Bram's phone buzzes. He pulls it out, glances at the screen, and his expression hardens. He looks at Rowan. You have 48 hours. After that, my brother handles this. He gets in the car and drives away. Rowan stands alone in the parking lot, watching the taillights disappear into the darkness. His hand is still wrapped around the recorder. Inside the device is 3 hours of Elio's memories. Names, locations, conversations overheard through thin walls and locked doors. Proof that Cade Hollis has been purging anyone in the organization who questions his methods. Proof that could tear the Hollis empire apart from the inside. Rowan's hand tightens around the plastic casing. He walks back to his car and sits in the driver's seat. His reflection stares back at him from the rearview mirror. Hollow eyes, drawn face, a man who just traded a child's freedom for a chance at leverage he might not even be able to use. He starts the engine. He doesn't know where he's going. Doesn't have a plan beyond surviving the next 48 hours. But he has the recorder. And that changes everything. Rowan drives east, toward the coast, toward the ports Elio mentioned in their recording. His mind is already working, calculating, planning. If he can get the recording to the right people, journalists, federal investigators, someone with the power to act, maybe it won't matter what the Hollis twins do to him. Maybe Elio will survive anyway. The road stretches ahead of him, dark and empty. Behind him, his phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Wrong move, Omega. Rowan's blood turns to ice. He looks in the rearview mirror. Headlights. Close. Getting closer. Following. When mercy runs out, what's left? Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the conclusion. Tell us in the comments what you think Rowan should do next. The envelope arrives 6 months later. Rowan finds it slipped under the door of his new apartment in a city he won't name. Plain Manila. No return address. No postage. Just his name written in block letters across the front. He stares at it for a long time before picking it up. Inside is a single photograph. Elio, older, standing beside Bram at what looks like a charity event. Expensive suit. Clean face. Alive. Rowan's hands shake as he holds the image. The pup, no, not a pup anymore, looks healthy. Federal whole. Their expression is neutral, controlled, but there's something in their eyes that wasn't there before. Distance. Rowan sets the photo on the table and sits down heavily. His new apartment is small, unfurnished except for a mattress and a folding chair. He doesn't own much anymore. Doesn't need to. Ownership means attachment, and attachment means leverage. He learned that lesson the hard way. The night the headlights followed him out of the parking lot, Rowan didn't run. He pulled over, got out of the car, stood in the middle of the road with the recorder in his hand and waited. The car that had been following him stopped 20 feet away. Cade Hollis stepped out. Rowan remembers the way his body went cold, the way every instinct screamed at him to run. But he stayed still, held the recorder up so Cade could see it. You come any closer, Rowan had said. And this goes to every federal office between here and DC. Cade had stared at him, silent, unmoving. Then he'd gotten back in his car and driven away. Rowan didn't understand it then. He still doesn't. But 2 days later, he received a call from a blocked number. Bram's voice. Calm, professional. Bring the recording to the address I'm sending you. Come alone. No copies. Rowan had gone. What choice did he have? The address led to a warehouse near the port. Empty except for Bram standing in the center of the space, hands in his pockets, waiting. Rowan had handed over the recorder. Bram had listened to the entire thing without speaking. 3 hours of Elio's testimony. Names, dates, movements, Cade's voice in the background of some recordings, directing operations, ordering purges. When it finished, Bram had looked at Rowan. This doesn't leave this building. What about Elio? Elio is safe. That's all you need to know. And me? Bram had studied him for a long moment. You disappear. New city. New name. You don't contact Elio. You don't contact me. You don't speak about any of this to anyone. Ever. And if I don't? Bram hadn't answered. He just handed Rowan an envelope containing $5,000 in cash and a new ID. Then he'd walked away. Rowan had left the city that night. Now, 6 months later, he sits in his new apartment and stares at the photograph. Elio is alive. That's what matters. That's what he keeps telling himself. But the cost sits heavy in his chest. He picks up the photo and studies it closer. Elio's standing slightly apart from Bram, body angled away. Not relaxed, not comfortable, just there. Performing. Rowan's throat tightens. He sets the photo down and stands. Crosses to the window and looks out at the unfamiliar city below. Cars, people, noise, life continuing like nothing happened. Like Rowan didn't sacrifice everything to save one child. His phone buzzes. A text from another unknown number. He's safe. That's all you get. Rowan deletes it immediately. He doesn't respond, doesn't ask questions, doesn't reach out, because that was the deal. Silence in exchange for survival. Rowan turns away from the window and looks at the photograph one last time. Then he picks it up, walks to the kitchen, and holds it over the trash can. His hand hovers. He can't do it. Instead, he tucks the photo into the back of a book on the shelf. Hidden, forgotten, but not destroyed. Outside, the city hums. Inside, Rowan sits in the silence and wonders if Elio ever thinks about the Omega who pulled them out from under a bed and gave them a chance. He'll never know. And maybe that's the point. 3 weeks later, the news breaks. Not a headline, just a small article buried in the business section. Hollis Logistics announces internal restructuring. Cade Hollis steps down from active operations. Bram Hollis assumes full control. No mention of why. No mention of missing people or federal investigations. Just a quiet reshuffling. Rowan reads the article 3 times. Then he closes his laptop and stares at the wall. The system didn't collapse. It adjusted. And somewhere in that adjustment, a child survived. Rowan doesn't know if that's enough, but it's all he's got. Is survival enough when justice never comes? Subscribe and turn on notifications for the final chapter. Drop a comment and let us know your thoughts on Rowan's choice. Rowan doesn't go back to Oregon. He stays in the new city, builds a new routine, learns new streets, gets a job washing dishes at a restaurant that doesn't ask for references, rents a studio apartment above a laundromat where the noise covers the sound of his nightmares. He doesn't make friends. Doesn't talk about where he came from or why he's here. Just exists. It's not the life he imagined, but it's life. And after everything, that feels like more than he deserves. On a Tuesday in late autumn, Rowan is walking home from work when he sees it. A news segment playing on a TV in a store window. He stops, stares. The footage shows a courthouse. Federal agents leading people in handcuffs. The cheerin reads, "Major West Coast trafficking ring dismantled." Rowan's heart stops. He watches as the camera pans across the faces being led away. He doesn't recognize most of them, but he recognizes the organization, the structure, the clean efficiency of an operation built to move people like cargo. The Hollis network. Not all of it, just pieces. The parts Cade controlled, the routes he ran, the people he disappeared. Rowan's chest tightens. The recording. Bram used it, not to destroy his brother, but to cut out the rot before it spread. Cade is gone. Vanished from the public record. And the empire adjusted, restructured, survived. The news segment ends. The TV switches to a commercial. Rowan stands on the sidewalk, frozen, while people flow around him like water around a stone. He doesn't know if Elio is safe. Doesn't know if Bram kept his word. Doesn't know if the sacrifice meant anything. But the machine changed, and that has to be enough. Rowan walks home. His apartment is cold, empty, silent. He makes tea he doesn't drink and sits by the window, watching the city lights blink against the darkness. He thinks about the cottage, the fire, the child under his bed asking if they messed up again. He thinks about the moment he decided to help instead of run, and he wonders if he'd make the same choice again. The answer comes easier than it should. Yes, even knowing the cost, even knowing he'd lose everything, even knowing no one would remember or thank him, he'd do it again. Because some things matter more than survival. Rowan finishes his tea and stands. He crosses to the shelf and pulls out the book where he hid Elio's photograph. He looks at it one last time. The pup's face, Bram's hand on their shoulder, the event in the background. Proof of life, proof that his choice mattered. Rowan tucks the photo back into the book and returns it to the shelf. Then he goes to bed. He doesn't dream about fire anymore. Just forest, silence. A child's voice asking questions he couldn't answer. And the weight of choosing the least terrible option in a world that offered no good ones. Years pass. Rowan changes cities twice more. Different names, different jobs, same routine. He doesn't look for Elio, doesn't search for updates, doesn't break the silence. But on his birthday, the one no official document records anymore, he receives a package. Inside is a single item, a children's book, well-worn, pages soft from repeated reading. No note, no return address, but on the inside cover, written in careful letters, "For teaching me that staying still isn't the same as staying safe." Rowan sits on the floor of his apartment and holds the book against his chest. He doesn't cry. Omegas learn early that tears are weakness. But his hands shake. And for the first time in years, he allows himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, his choice saved more than one life. It saved the possibility that kindness still matters. That protecting someone weaker than yourself isn't foolish. That survival without dignity is just existence. And existence isn't enough. Rowan opens the book and starts to read. Outside, the city moves on. People rush to jobs and appointments and lives that don't include him. The world spins. Systems adjust. Power shifts hands. But in a small apartment above a laundromat, an Omega who gave up everything to save a child he barely knew sits alone. Reading, remembering, believing, and that belief, fragile, hard one, carried in silence, is the only victory that matters. Because no one applauded, no headlines ran, no justice was served publicly, but a child lived. And the machine that tried to erase them learned that some people can't be controlled. Some people choose loss with dignity over survival without it. And sometimes the quietest resistance is the most permanent. Rowan closes the book. He doesn't know where Elio is now. Doesn't know if they're happy or safe or free. But they're alive. And that's enough. The end. What does home mean when you can never go back? Thank you for watching this story. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss stories that inspire resilience and courage. Share your thoughts in the comments below about what Rowan's journey meant to you, and inspire others with your perspective. Your story matters too.